What is going on, everyone? We are live, and this is Xbox Ultimate Podcast, episode number 215. And this was a ultimate week so far. for Xbox as they dominate gaming news with a stellar dev direct that has been highly praised by many across the industry, whether they're Xbox fans or not. Maybe it's because they're getting the games too. I don't know. But all of a sudden, everybody loves Xbox again, which is pretty crazy to see the conversation, the narratives all shift. There's been more news come out today as there's been interview with Phil Spencer over with Gamertag Radio, and we also have Tom Warren was putting out some stuff on his website following the Dev Direct. So there's some speculation to be had, some more rumors that seem to be even more concrete than the past. The Xbox is doubling down on hardware as well as doubling down on third party at the same time again in interviews. So it's been interesting the day after following the Dev Direct, some of all the stuff that's been coming out. But so we got more stuff to talk about today, and it's going to be a blast. Thanks to Fuzzy and Still Rain, who joined me yesterday for the Dev Direct. And then last night we had Pong for PM in the PM, as always, on a Thursday night. So we had a full day yesterday. And then today, thanks everybody who tuned in to watch me play some Tokyo Extreme Racer, which I had a couple hours of a stream to be able to play and show you guys that game before this show tonight. So shout out to everybody here and appreciate you all. But Fuzzy, man, how's it going, dude? I saw you yesterday, back here tonight. You've had a day to sit on everything, but how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going great. Glad to be here with you guys tonight, and just glad that we got to see a awesome showcase yesterday or Dev Direct yesterday. About a full roadmap between now and June, as far as with release dates and everything. Pretty good idea of what the rest of the year has in store, with maybe some more surprises squeezed in. Yeah, this is the 2025 that I don't think we're going to be ready for with all these games. But man, we're going to have an awesome conversation tonight about it.
Yeah, I'm wondering how many we're gonna get at this point because I mean, they have more to reveal apparently, and they're already added another. I mean, technically first party game for this year, whether you want to say it is or say it isn't or whatever. I mean, technically it is, and that because that's what Xbox considers it, right? So with Ninja Gaiden 4 hitting in the fall, so you have all of that. You have friggin' Avowed is hitting soon. We had a Shadow drop into Game Pass yesterday. Um, Loaded lineup: February, March, April, May, June showcase right after that, and then tons of games to look forward to in the second half. So yeah, we're in 2025 is knuckin' futs, man. It really is. Jasper, you're here
Again.
I know.
Yeah,
it.
it's the prize. I have internet, and I can actually join shows now. Other than that, I've just been working and playing Marvel Rivals a lot, so it's kind
Yeah.
of what I've been up to.
So,
Yeah.
oh, I have a question about Marvel Rivals because Kate shared something with me that says like there was data mining done, right?
Yeah, so
And
apparently they're putting fake code in their game, so when
to
they
catch
data
leakers.
miners find it, to catch leakers. Yeah.
Okay, so my question was because the thing that she shared me told me that Gambit was going to be there. Is
But yeah,
that one
that
of the
came
fake
out.
ones or is that real? Because I was excited about that. And if it's fake because of some bullshit like that, I'm going to be a little upset because I'm not playing for Marvel Rivals until Gambit shows up.
I don't know if he's real or not, but because like there was like a leak like a few days ago where it was like showed like 5 characters coming or whatever, and Gambit was on that list. And then like the next day they came out and was like, by the way, we're putting fake code to try to catch leakers. So I don't know. It
Yeah.
could be fake.
My next question for you is how did you survive in the short window when Marvel Snap wasn't available?
I haven't played Marvel Snap in a while, actually. I did try
Okay.
it but just when it was down, but yeah, I haven't played it in like 2 months. So
Really? Okay. Like I see little Steam icons and stuff, and like I think
yeah.
sometimes when you just launch the Steam or whatever, it's like Jasper Marvel Snap or whatever. I'm like, okay, this guy must be addicted to Marvel Snap. Yeah, thanks for being here, bro. Appreciate you. And
Overwatch is still better, by the way.
is it?
Yeah.
Right on. Good to know. Hey, you might have some Marvel Rivals diehards that would argue with you.
Yeah. Fuck them.
Pong Soul coming off the heels of PM and the PM last night. Thank you for being here tonight. I know you can't stay here for the whole time, but
Right.
we got you for maybe like a little over an hour from now or so.
Yeah. Yeah.
How's it going?
It's going great. It's great to be back. I didn't know if I was going to make it actually tonight. I didn't get home like I thought I was going to. Still haven't played Tokyo Extreme Racer. Still pissed off about that and a bunch of other stuff. But I am here, and it's good to be back on a great week, obviously with Fuzzy, and of course the one and only Jasper now getting to join us more often, which is freaking fantastic to hear his voice again. But yeah, what a week. We had such a fun show last night, just talking games, just pure games and more games, because that direct was freaking incredible. And it's funny how many people, like we talked about last night, Mav, and like you just mentioned, suddenly like Xbox games, or are interested in Xbox games. It's just, again, the hypocrisy, the goalposts that we've talked about for years, that people denied ever were there, that it was all real. It's all fake bullshit, bro. These guys out here and these gals out here that pretend that shit, man, they really want to play Xbox games. They're just so wrapped up they won't ever admit it until, oh, now it's coming to PlayStation. Now we can go ahead and say, oh, it's cool. So happy. Again, Phil did an interview. Have not been able to watch the interview, but saw some of the breakdowns we were talking about on our way into the show. Just confirming everything again. Nobody should be in uproar. I don't think we need to have another funeral for Xbox at this point. Phil just confirmed everything that we've been saying for months and weeks and almost a year now, ever since they started this. And he's just tripling, quadrupling down. Hardware's still on the way. That's what they're going to go for. And it sounds like they're going to try to make compelling hardware, which is exactly something that we've talked about here. And I hope that's the case, because he said he wants to win not based on exclusive games. Of course not, because that's not their motto now. They're in a total different business mode, but he wants to win on that hardware capabilities. So if they're going to take this leap and they're going to make something that is spectacular in the hardware realm, then I'm all for it. Like I said before, make it an enthusiast box. I don't care if it's more expensive. Just make it cool, interesting, make it do stuff that we don't find anywhere else, and make people think about going and buying it for once. Not, oh, it's the same as PlayStation 6. It's about roughly, well, I'm just going to stick with my PlayStation then. No. Force people to really think about it, Phil, by making something crazy. And I'm all for it. The hybrids, whatever they got going on, along with the handheld, let's do it. Let's do it, Phil. So I can't wait to hear more about that in the future. But again, nothing earth-shattering from the Phil interview. Although Ninja Gaiden talks started 6 to 7 years ago. Holy shit, that was a long ass time ago. That's a long ass time ago to have it finally turn up here. So that's pretty damn.
What year was Scalebound canceled?
I'd have to go back and look. Was that 2017 or 2018?
Was it? I thought it was earlier than that. I was like 15
Was
or
it?
something.
Scalebound.
No, I don't
Because
think
wasn't
it
it supposed to be out around launch, wasn't it? And then
No, it
We
was
just kept never
it
seeing
was
it?
more in the middle of the generation towards
Cancellation in 2017. Yep.
and we had just seen it at that E3 like a
Correct.
month before the cancellation, or maybe even a few weeks,
Yeah.
or something like that, right? So
Yeah,
2017.
it started in 2013. It started development in 2013 and then canceled in 2017.
That sounds like 7 years ago, or 8 years ago. So like
8 years ago. So right after that, when Phil started taking all those trips to Japan, right? When he
Right.
himself was really starting to ramp up in Japan, must have been when he broached the subject, at least with Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja, and said, "Are you guys bringing Ninja Gaiden? We'll help you.
Yeah.
We'll make that happen. Let's do something." Maybe it started out as an Xbox exclusive at one point.
maybe
certainly
I
possible.
wonder I wonder when Platinum got on board.
That's a good question.
Probably when the guy was posting
When
on
the-
Twitter.
I was gonna say when that one dude got kicked out or whatever, right, for his
Well,
comments. Or
I mean, Nick said 2 years ago, right? 2022 or 3 years ago. Well,
Yeah,
a little over
2022.
2 years ago is
Yeah.
when he heard the news that Platinum was the one redoing it. So roughly, I mean, if he heard about it, it probably was early 2022 when they came on board, I would imagine.
Mhm.
So I'm sure development started in like 2021.
It's
and
it's
then
just
they decided that we're going to co-develop.
it's crazy, because like certain kinds of news has major impact today,
Yeah.
but like what Xbox was and where they were when those conversations started and what they were trying to do as a company is a completely different thing,
That's
right?
what I'm saying, but exclusive at that time.
Yeah, so it's like interesting to think about the deals
Yeah.
that were made in the past, but how they can, when you have a different brand or different objectives, everything about how they come to fruition with a completely different philosophy today. And I think like you're probably right. Back then, maybe it was going to be, but now we have, it's in Game Pass day and date. It's taking full advantage of Xbox Anywhere,
And people
which
are saying because it's published by Microsoft that it will stay in Game Pass forever,
right.
that it won't leave. That's part of the publishing deal. That's the differentiating kind of thing between like a regular third-party deal and what they're calling this to be a first-party deal because
Yeah,
Microsoft is actually publishing.
a lot more money involved here from
Yes.
Xbox's side to make this happen, right? And to see, like, I think it was Aaron Greenberg that we went over yesterday when Aaron Greenberg was saying like this was Phil making this happen by his meetings in Japan and meeting with all of these people, and that they thought that Platinum would be a good fit for this and all that other kind of stuff. So you can imagine the legwork involved with all of that to get a game like Ninja Gaiden to come back. And it's awesome to see that was a surprise. We all heard behind the scenes that was going to be what the surprise was. I never want to 100% commit to, even if I have 5 different people telling us the same thing. It's like, well, maybe it's all the same wrong source giving all these people the information. So never want to say 100% then on anything, but it seemed like this one was probably legit, and it turned out to be true. But I didn't expect it necessarily to be Ninja Gaiden 4, right? It could have been a reboot. We talked about this with you, Jasper, too. Like,
Yeah, it was on FSP.
yeah, we were wondering like would it be if this game comes back, and you
Would it
were
be like a
saying
Souls game?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And you were saying that you didn't think that if it was this game that people would be that excited.
Yeah.
I guess maybe you were wrong about that one.
Well, I still don't give a shit about it. So.
Because there was a lot of excitement yesterday.
That's
for
how
Ninja Gaiden.
Jasper judges every game, is whether or not he's excited. He's
Right.
the ultimate selfish gamer. He's just like fuck everybody else. Is this exciting me? Nope. It's okay. It's done. Nobody's gonna like it.
It was funny.
I don't like it. Nobody's gonna like it.
So yeah, it brought a lot of hype starting off the show with that, and then also following it up with a shadow drop of a UE5 remaster. And I gotta say, like I launched it last night, right?
Yeah, I fired it up briefly before I went to bed. Yeah,
And I gotta say, I mean, it's more of if that's what you call a remaster, it's then I don't know what you call some of PlayStation's remakes. You know what I mean? Because
it looks great.
I mean, it looks like a new game. Like for the most part, I mean, you can tell it's like from a different era. Like
Camera angles and stuff like that.
yeah.
Camera symbols,
Graphically, it holds up. Gameplay wise, it's fantastic.
and they didn't censor anything, which was dope. Which
Yeah.
is really good. They didn't censor a damn thing, not even the women, which is awesome nowadays. So that was good to see. Yeah, no, I thought they did a nice job firing it up and just playing quick through the first level. It brought me right back, but everything looked just better.
Yeah.
Like period, point blank, and it felt better. God, it was fast. I forgot you forget how fast that game is.
Mm-hmm.
You forget what Itagaki and his team did back in the day. Like it was crazy.
Man, I was thinking about you, Pong, when the first opening sequence there, and I forget the girl's name. That's like,
Yep.
I was like, Pong's gonna love this. This is like, like this is an Itagaki game, like right here, all the way,
through, bro. This is this is Dead or Alive Prime days, bro.
Yeah.
This is when we were getting Extreme Volleyball, right? This is all of that shit. So, yeah, no, it's awesome. Shout out to Hazador, by the way, too, for carrying the Dead or Alive Extreme Volleyball flag today and posting about it and tagging Phil and saying they need to bring it back. Thank you, Haz. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, I think that announcement went over well, like really well. I mean, I've seen so many people talking about it and getting excited about it. Like, Fuzz, have you noticed this, like, change of energy since the Dev Direct yesterday with Xbox and a lot of people that aren't even necessarily Xbox fans and stuff? Just kind of, you still have your knuckleheads. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Right. You still get your knuckleheads like praising the PS5 Pro enhancements as like a reason why none of these things matter for Xbox, all that kind of other bullshit and stuff like that. But yeah, what's your sense on the energy since yesterday's show?
I think Well, one, I'll start with those that are subscribed to Game Pass. I think those that are already subscribed are enjoying what they've seen, and the energy there is that they have this full layout of games coming this year. Those that may not be subscribed but on the Xbox ecosystem seem to be happy that there's actual games that were part of the tradition of the Xbox platform coming back from the East. Um, and kind of surprised it was Platinum given all their shenanigans in the past when it came to Scalebound, seeing that they're back in the fold, and this looks like it may be one of their hits as opposed to their misses, because they have like a hit or miss type of scheduling, and it seems like this one's going to be on point pretty much as far as the blood and gore. Like, we don't get enough of those games that aren't censored, where you got the blood spatter on the screen or the blood squirting out of limbs that have been severed and it's all that stuff. And I know it makes me sound like a psychopath or whatever, but that's the stuff where it's a video game, and you want that visceral violence to keep you engaged and chop up all the bad guys and move on to the boss kind of thing. Like, I love the fact that they brought that feel back. And sure, it might be on other platforms, but the fact that it's coming to Xbox, a game that, in just the previous generation would have probably skipped the platform altogether. They put this together. A lot of those trips back and forth to Japan are starting to pay off, and we're starting to see the fruits of that labor. I can't be mad at it. And I think there's enough people recognizing that. And even those that aren't in Xbox ecosystem are recognizing that Xbox is bringing the games, even when maybe their preferred platform isn't really doing much these days, but that's another story.
Yeah. Shout out to Alvin, hit us with a $5 super chat. Says, think of all the talks they've had with Japanese devs since that time, since 6 years ago. Who knows what else is cooking in the background? That's a very good point, man, because if it took from those initial conversations took this long for this announcement to happen, we've heard so many different things about these trips and developing relationships, doing all these things. We know about the Kojima thing with OD. That's going to be something that releases at some point. You have this. We've seen since all these things happened, you've seen the Yakuza franchise come to Xbox. You've seen Atlas games come to Xbox for the first time. You even saw a marketing deal with an Atlas game last year. With Metaphor Refantasio hitting Xbox day and date, which is their big new franchise, right? So you see this definite change going on with all of those things, but what else?
They kind of sent mixed messaging though when they shut down Tango,
right? Which was something, something we talked about when that happened. It was like, when you're doing all that stuff, why shut Tango down? You know what I mean?
And don't forget too, Phil. A couple, I think it was a couple of years ago, before they just switched up what their whole plans were. Did come out and say, and I can't remember what interview it was. I'm trying to think what interview it was, but he did confirm. He said Xbox players can expect exclusive games from the East. So there probably is a lot of projects working in the works that we might see. Like
this may not be exclusive anymore. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah,
not going to be exclusive anymore. I'm just saying there obviously was projects in the works that he was alluding to at that point. So this is probably one of the first ones, because again, I think it was like 2 years ago, I want to say, when he came in an interview and said that, when they were still talking exclusive. So all this work that he's been doing for years, it's crazy. He's been flying back and forth for 8 years now. Sarah Bond started with him when she came on board. And she's been a big, massive, we heard that back in the day. Sarah Bond was a massive get over in the East. Like, the people in the East love Sarah Bond when she walked in the rooms, I guess. So yeah, I think we're going to see some more of those partnerships. Again, I would like to see some more of the, Chinese and the Korean stuff that they've kind of, again, like the China project that PlayStation has. I'd like to see some stuff like that come out of it. But again, we're in a different mode now. So I just hope we keep getting these Eastern games, man, because the East is on fire right now. They are doing a lot of heavy lifting in the industry.
Also, like with the China thing, like I think Microsoft may be more iffy on that, just to because the situation with like TikTok and stuff, like how much do these big companies want to invest in that market if like there's a threat that it could get pulled or something?
Yeah, but they've done a lot of work there, Jasmine. They did a lot of work to get the Series X actually in there at launch, right? Because I remember that big story with PlayStation and them. They had to do work to get them into China. and Satya, what was it? World of Warcraft was banned, right? Kicked out of
Yeah.
Japan or out of China.
Uh,
First thing they did
all
when
of Blizzard, I think, was pulled out of there, right?
Blizzard,
Yeah.
Blizzard in
Yeah.
general. First thing they did when they got the ABK deal done, and I talked about this with the ABK before the ABK deal. I said, watch, that would be one of the first things, because when Satya makes a phone call from Microsoft, it's a little different than somebody from Activision calling up and Bobby the Snake calling up. So and that got fixed right away, right? So they got a lot of interest in China. So I don't think they would probably shy away from gaming.
They
but
also did that Riot Games deal too,
Yes,
to have all
the
those
Riot Games deal, that
games
was
come
huge.
into Game
Yeah.
Pass with all the perks for the free to play
DLC.
games and stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, they're doing multiple things. It's gonna be interesting to see like what we end up getting. Shane G had a question for Jasper in the chat. It says, "Do you think young people will give Ninja Gaiden 4 a shot?"
I think the same amount of people as Hellblade 2.
Oh, geez, you think so?
Oh my God, bro. Yes, where you been? Devil May Cry still sells well. My God, Souls are all the rage. People love tough ass games nowadays. This is one of the toughest action games. People like to think that it's Souls.
It'll do a little better than Hellblade 2 just because the Japanese fans, but I'm thinking like
blood and gore. It's a gamer's ass game, bro. I can't
don't
believe
know.
you say you don't like it, bro. I can't. Why would you not like this game? You don't
I don't-
like
it's
Devil
just-
May Cry or Bayonetta or any of them?
Not really. I don't know. It's just not my kind of game.
Yeah, I think maybe it's a genre that you've been maybe a little not necessarily not completely oblivious to because you've heard of these franchises, right? But I think maybe
I mean, I've played Devil May Cry before, and I played like what was it called? Was it? It's not Darksiders. No, what was it? I don't remember. Whatever the fuck it was called. Prototype, like the hack and slash shit. I don't know.
yeah, Prototype was was from Activision, right?
Yeah.
Superhero-y kind of one though.
Yeah.
I mean, action like some of these franchises were some of the most popular, back in the day. Like on OG Xbox, like Ninja Gaiden was fucking massive, right? And Devil May Cry was always crazy popular and stuff like that too. So it's like Bayonetta still it does extremely well whenever they bring out one of those. So there's like this whole genre that's you don't get a tentpole one in very often from one of these major franchises, and Ninja Gaiden was like for many the gold standard of this genre. It was like Devil May Cry and Ninja Gaiden were like 1A, 1B for like the best action hack and slash games, right? And brutally hard and fun. And we've had DMCs and Devil May Cry games come out. They did even kind of like a reboot with Ninja Theory, actually with DMC. And they brought Devil May Cry 6 out. I don't know how well it did. I think it did pretty well for them. But now to see Ninja Gaiden come back, I think for the fans of that genre, it's a huge deal. And it'd be like if Street Fighter went away for a long ass time and came back, his Street Fighter's back. Or like if like if fighting game, you could say, hey, it's not the biggest audience in the world, but it's got a pretty fucking big audience, and I think these games inspired in some ways the Souls genre, right? That has taken on since, because if you can go back to the first Ninja Gaiden, there's a lot of core elements.
I remember
there.
playing the original Ninja Gaiden back in the day on the OG Xbox, and I fucking hated it because the camera was so ass.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's a different time and place, man.
Yeah, no.
Like, there was this game. Y'all remember Two Human?
Yeah, love Two Human.
Yeah. But what was wrong with that game, Jasper?
You could deal with it though in that game.
Two Human is a classic, right? But even at launch, the camera sucked ass on that game. But like a lot of those action games back then, the camera was just weird, to today's standards, right? But yeah, I think the camera on the new one will be probably sufficient, for many people. Well, Jasper, this is the first chance to talk to you about the Dev Direct. So, Are you gonna be Mr. Negative Nancy
Yeah,
here?
I'm
and
gonna
you're
be a little
okay.
hot take. Yeah.
Okay.
Just because like two of the 4 games, and then the third. So 2 of the games for me in general just aren't even like I don't really care about. Ninja
Which
Gaiden to begin
Did
with.
I say it was great to have Jasper back? I'm sorry.
Yeah, yes, you did. I don't want to be
Awesome.
negative, but Ninja Gaiden I don't give a shit about, so it's like okay, whatever. And then South of Midnight, I've already just like the gameplay in that game just like looks so basic and generic of a game, and I'm just like whatever. Like visually it looks cool, but like just the way a game plays is just like I don't give a fuck.
Can you be excited for other people to play it though? Is that possible?
That's why I said I'm gonna be negative, but the people that want to play it, fine, go be yourself. And then Expedition 33, like I'm really excited about that game, but I've never really been into turn-based stuff, so that's where it's like I'm still like iffy on it. But then fucking Doom is like the best looking Doom I've ever fucking seen.
Right.
So-
So what would you give the Dev Direct overall?
Let's see.
Oh, we missed you, man. Oh, we missed you so much.
If I don't care about half the fucking show, it's like,
Yeah,
Makes sense.
I get you. Fair enough.
Totally. Fuzzy, don't encourage this shit. Jesus Christ.
Let's see.
He likes what he likes.
So like I think on Keely's poll is around like 50% was
yeah, I
A.
voted C on it.
So you're one of like the what is it, 15% or 12%
Yeah, or
or something?
whatever.
Okay, the chat's asking for us to vote you off the island.
It happens.
All right, Jasper,
Actually,
time has come to an end. Go grab your
I'll go find
things.
the idol and I'll come back next week.
Right on.
Phase Force was supposed to crush this out of you, bro. Not enhance it.
It's like Jasper enhanced, yeah. Jasper 2.0. This has come back.
Well, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I would
I mean-
rather you not lie for sure. Yeah, we don't want one of those, right?
So I'm not gonna be fake about it.
Hey,
You know?
you do you, bro. Love it.
Yeah.
So what would have made it better for you?
Any other game?
Besides Ninja Gaiden or showing South of Midnight again?
I mean, what else they got coming out this year? Like, I'm trying to think of something. Like, I would like to see the Oblivion thing, but like, even that would be kind of iffy, just because we already know what Oblivion is, and it's like it wouldn't be that big of a surprise. And we've already seen Avowed. I'm trying to think of later half. What do they have coming out later half this year?
Fable,
Outer Worlds
Outer
2.
Worlds 2.
Outer Worlds 2 would have been cool to see, but I still think that may get pushed. I think. I don't know.
Oh, they just announced it for
I know, but-
2025.
I mean, they fucking announced Avowed for 24, and that got pushed. So like,
It's true.
I don't know. It's hard. I don't know what are they got coming out this year besides like stuff we've already seen and we had directs on.
Oblivion remake is more fire around that.
Yeah.
They're supposedly targeting Gears E-Day still for 2025, which is that happens.
It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get into these, right?
If Gears happens this year, then that would be the directed E3, I would assume.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what about Fable
Fable's
this year
Yeah.
also? And we haven't had a big direct blowout on that yet. So
that's true.
Fable. Later this year, it's supposed to be Fable, Outer Worlds 2, whatever Call of Duty
Yeah.
ends up happening, right? You have more Game Pass day and date games. Plus, also you might have the Oblivion remake or remaster, whatever that ends up technically being. It's supposed to be potentially late spring, early, or summer. Summer is saying June for that.
Yeah, I would assume it's going to come like a month after E3, I would assume.
Maybe they could shadow drop it like they did Ninja Gaiden 4, right? At the June showcase.
Maybe. I mean, they haven't really done a shadow drop at a June showcase in forever.
Which would mean that it's time.
Yeah.
They just did one at the Dev Direct, right? So
Yeah.
I wouldn't pull it past them. We have Towerborn is gonna end up launching at some point. What else is there? I mean, I know I'm missing something, but we are the first half. We have South of Midnight, or sorry, Avowed. Then we have South of Midnight. We have Doom.
Expedition 33. Well, you're not counting Expedition 33, right?
I'm
Just the
going. I'm
first
just
party
going for
stuff.
first party right now. Yeah, South of Midnight, or sorry, Avowed, South of Midnight, and then Doom. Right. Second half, Ninja Gaiden 4, Outer Worlds 2, Fable, Call of Duty, and potentially Oblivion remake, or that could be first half. I mean, it's a lot. So, yeah, that's a good question. If Gears E-Day is 2025, you would think that would get the big blowout. But like, do they just have another Dev Direct?
Or
instead?
maybe they just split it. If it is 25, they just split it between Fable and Gears. Have like an hour,
Once we know
another
what,
hour on direct, but just Fable and Gears.
I
Could
think
be.
we'll know more once Take Two figures out what they're doing with GTA 6, if that's 25 or 26. It
Yeah.
just seems like that's the gorilla in the room right now.
So, you said that Doom was like the best looking Doom ever.
Yeah.
I kind of tend to agree with you, bro. Like,
I mean, yeah, my number one hype game or anticipated game for last year's coming out this year, and then Doom's like right up there with it now. Like Avowed and Doom, like that's my two like biggest Xbox games this year that are coming out. So
Doom was the one that moved. Like, if there's a needle to be moved, where people always use that, right? Like my personal needle moved on Doom more than anything else after seeing this show, right? I was already excited for Expedition 33, but I loved what I saw from it. I loved what I saw from Ninja Gaiden announcement. I thought that was amazing. I think that South of Midnight, I've seen it so much that I'm just ready for the game to come out. I didn't really see too much different, but I got to see a little bit of what I was hoping for there. But with Doom, that one, it was like the one that was like, holy shit.
yeah, it kind of reminded me like them going back to more of their darker side, and it's like it kind of feels more like the original, where it's a lot more flatter planes, and not like Eternal. Like I know Pong was talking about this earlier, where it's like all the platforming bullshit. Like it seems like they're going more flat with it and not as vertical. So that's what I'm really liking about it.
But I mean, Pong, do you think that was Doom the standout game for you overall?
Kick Jasper off, and I'll talk.
Yeah, I'll turn his. Can I mute him?
That's a hard question to answer, because you know how much I love Clair, Obscur and Expedition 33,
Yeah.
and because the studio and just because of everything around that game. I guess overall, just from straight gameplay, that Ninja Gaiden was so freaking fantastic too, though, bro. But yeah, I mean, we're splitting hairs here,
Yeah.
so I'll just go with yes, because Doom did crush it. I said it last night. It is just, I can't imagine a more fun studio to work for than to work with that group over there. Like, again, just seeing them, but just how they just know what they make, and they just continue to iterate on that, and they continue to change it, and this time throwing in fucking 30-story mechs and fucking dragons with laser wings and Gatling guns. Like, yeah, let's do it again. Gamer ass games. It's just great to see those still exist in this day and age, and that was spectacular. I mean, again, the id Engine is one of the best engines out there. Every generation they update the id Engine, and it just does better and better. But yeah, everything about that game just spoke to me and looks wondrous. I just can't wait to play Doom. And again, Doom is high quality all the damn time, but Eternal just didn't do it for me with the platforming. I hated the platforming. So, but this one, give it to me. Inject it in my veins 2 weeks before my birthday. It's beautiful. I'm ready. So yeah, I'll say I'm splitting hairs here, but I will say Doom was probably the most impressive there.
You remember there was a time when people said like Xbox doesn't make good single player games, like they only have good multiplayer games. At this Dev Direct, everything was single player, right? You had Ninja Gaiden 4, you had the remaster, you had South of Midnight, you had Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and then you had Doom: The Dark Ages.
Yeah.
Right. None of it has, like, for as far as we can tell, any kind of like monetization thingies or games of service thingies or whatever. It's just these are all going into Game Pass day and date, and they all have Xbox Play Anywhere. Right.
This is the benefit of doing what they're doing, that they can continue. We talked about this, Mav, that they can continue to let their studios make the games without forcing them into situations like PlayStation had to force their teams into. Like we saw with Zenimax forcing Arcane, unfortunately, into making Redfall.
Yeah.
When they obviously, that's not their game, right? But that's what we saw with PlayStation. So this is the difference. Again, don't have to like the strategy, but this is what the strategy allows you to do, on top of the fact that with all the acquisitions, they now have almost a dozen games as a service games that are highly successful.
Yeah.
Nobody could claim that shit, bro. They got games that are paying for themselves and then also adding to the coffers for everybody else. So that allows it to say, nope, we're not going to do the multiplayer. Early in the project, they said it. They in the interview, they said we're not going to do the multiplayer. We're going to focus on the single player, and everybody's cool with it. Xbox is cool with it. Microsoft's cool with it. Go put your game out there. Make it the best goddamn single player game ever.
Yeah.
Allows Compulsion Games to move up a whole degree from what they were making previously and give them a whole new studio and let them go make a single player game that has no monetization, that has no battle passes, that doesn't currently, that we know about, having even DLC that's going to drop. So yeah, this is the flexibility that you have when you open up your ecosystem like Xbox is doing. This is why PlayStation really wanted games as a service to cover their first party studios to make $400 million projects, $500 million projects, but also to give them the flexibility to do stuff like this as well. They just haven't been able to nail it, but this is beautiful, man. Yeah, I love it.
I remember a time when there was all these podcasts out there saying that Game Pass was going to ruin gaming and they weren't going to be able to make games like this. And yet here we have Fable coming out this year. You have Avowed, Outer Worlds 2, these 4 games, potentially even Gears E-Day. Again, besides Gears, which would have multiplayer, all those other experiences are completely focused on having a large single player experience that's completely meant for that kind of game. It's not any other bullshit that everybody said that was what Game Pass was all about, right? This is showing this huge pipeline of games in multiple genres, multiple varieties, all different scales of kind and genres and all this stuff that we're all getting. And I think that it's proving that Game Pass is not some kind of big detriment to the industry, right? I think Xbox and Microsoft are finding their way navigating some with it. They've done more multi-plat now. They're doing other things, right? They have the early access option as well for people to dive in early on these games. All of these things are adding up to having a great value and experience in the Xbox ecosystem to look forward to games like this, right? I mean, getting fucking Ninja Gaiden 4. Like, for many people, it'd be like if they announced Splinter Cell today and they said it was coming to Game Pass day and date and that was being co-published by Xbox, right? That's like the equivalent to this for like Splinter Cell fans, for action game fans. It's just fucking crazy. And it's like absolutely insane that we're getting this kind of stuff, and yet people will still try and make the arguments about downplaying the viability, sustainability, that it's going to ruin gaming, that they can't do these kinds of games, all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, just fucking look. Open your eyes and look at what they're actually doing at these games that we're all getting. Oh, and they're more so than anybody else over the next couple years. I guarantee you that. more big games will be launching in Game Pass day and date than any other platform holder will be launching from their first party lineups, period, over the next few years. And I'm not just talking about multiplayer stuff. I'm talking about single player stuff. I'm not just talking about old IP, reused, rehashed IP. I'm also talking about new IP or IP being brought back from the grave. Fucking love it. You were going to say something, Fuzz?
Yeah, it's here's the funny part. Like for me, after hearing was it Shuhei Yoshida say buy our remasters to get new games? Had this been another platform, we would have gotten that remaster in UE5 for Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. And that's it. That's all we would have gotten. And then we would have to have bought that. And then maybe 4 years later, we would get Ninja Gaiden 4.
To the
That's
contrast.
how the other platforms. Yeah, that's how the other platform is doing it now. You got to buy the rehashes to get the new stuff. Xbox, you get a rehash that's much older or much longer time span from when it was originally released to now. Instead of it being just 3 to 4 years, it's like beyond 5 or 10 years. And then you get the new game on top of that. So I don't know.
Yeah, they already planned the new game before they even released this. And not only that, they're not even saying you have to buy it. It's like they're in Game Pass day and date. Like it's more of a love letter to the fans, and like we'll see, let's resurrect this franchise, right? With Xbox behind the wheel of it too. You know, it's like I don't see how people can make arguments against this stuff anymore. And if they do, they just sound like fools, right? Shout out to Spartan661 with the 5 gifted Fun Speculation memberships. Choo choo, motherfuckers. I know we're all choo chooing today. Absolutely, after that Dev Direct yesterday. So, shout out to FarkU again for making this for me and Pong.
It's your stupid American cartoons. Choo choo, choo choo. Ha 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 ha.
Anyway, all right. So, yeah, appreciate you, Spartan661. You're absolutely amazing, dude. Then Face 23BKNY with a $20 super chat. Much appreciated, Face, as well. Says difference between Sony and Microsoft. Team Ninja published game by Sony is exclusive. Team Ninja game published by Xbox multiplat. Thoughts? Okay, so I would say better for PS5 as a console. Better for the game on Xbox. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I mean, there's two ways to look at it.
Is a lifetime of it on Game Pass, right? So lifetime on Game Pass versus just having exclusive to your console, but everybody's got to buy it, right? On the Xbox. Right. That's like the trade-off, kind of. Mm-hmm. As we sit here and look at it and kind of think about it, that's kind of like the trade-off. So again, as an Xbox gamer invested with Game Pass, it's a win. It's a W. It's a huge W, right? Again, sure, someday Game Pass could go away and all this could be meaningless, but I'm just saying, as of right now, when you just look at it straight up today, that's a win for the Xbox community, number one, because the vast majority of the community are on Game Pass Ultimate. And number two, it's a win for Xbox because they got a game to be made that obviously took a long time to be made, even though that should have happened. But listen, they had to go get Team Ninja actually went and got Platinum to partner with them to kind of make this deal work. So they got to bring back a favorite franchise. It gets to be known as an Xbox kind of, you know, how we always describe it, even though it's third party, everybody knows Ninja Gaiden, right? Everybody knows it's Koei Tecmo, everybody knows it's Team Ninja, but it's associated with Xbox now. Like a lot because they're publishing it and because it's everywhere on Xbox. And this is a big Eastern franchise. There's no question about it. Even Jasper wants to downplay it. And it's going to bring in some new fans. So I think that's how you got to look at it. It's just a trade off with how Xbox looks at exclusivity, which they don't care anymore, but they get it in their Game Pass system for life, versus Sony would look at this as we want to gobble it up into our ecosystem and nobody else can touch it. Right? Both work. Again, that game, Sony's playing the old game, but I think this worked out in Xbox's favor.
$2 super chat from Face as well. Appreciate it. It says, why do some people shame others for buying games? Who shames anybody for buying games?
Why do people shame people for having Game Pass?
I
Why do people still shame people for using a subscription service when all the people doing the shaming, I can guarantee you, have at least 2, maybe a dozen subscription services underneath their name for movies, for music, for everything else? Why do people shame the video game subscription service? It's a weird on both sides. It's a weird thing on both sides. Weird to pocket watch anybody, right? And judge people for buying things if they want to buy things. It's also weird for saying that people shouldn't rent things when given the ability to rent. Like that's weird to me. We've been renting stuff forever. Like it's ever since Blockbuster, since VCR days, we've been renting shit, right? So this is not a new concept, but for some reason, the video game world in this community, people think it's like for poor people. It's really a strange concept.
Yeah, I've never shamed anybody for buying games.
Nope. I never will.
I don't know.
I will laugh at the people who say that they would never buy Game Pass because it's a bad deal, but then are excited to go spend $70 per or $50 per game for all these games that are coming to PlayStation 5 now. I think that's weird, right? I think it's a weird concept to go, oh, you guys, why would you ever pay $20 a month for a subscription? It's totally not worth it. I'm going to go pay full price for about 5-6 games this year that are coming from Xbox to PlayStation. Like that to me is weird. Like
I think to some extent all gamers that would be in this community buy games.
Right.
So if you say, "Oh, you should buy games," like everybody does. I don't it doesn't I've never heard anybody actually say people shouldn't buy games or like I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. Now, there's been like Pong said, there's been the opposite side where people will like shame people on Game Pass, almost like I feel like the people were back in the day had picket signs outside of a fucking Blockbuster or something. I don't understand that mentality at all, saying like, oh, I buy my games. Like, okay, cool. You know, like I buy games too, but these are all on Game Pass, so I don't have to, you know, and that's a benefit for me. Right. So
I mean, spoiler alert. But when we leave this life, a moving van doesn't come with us, folks. I mean, I don't know.
I'm going to be buried in all my shit. No one's going to.
Right. It's the weird. Like people forget. Like, oh, I'm going to leave this shit to my kids, bro.
Yeah.
Do you know how 30, 40 years from fucking now? Yeah, the old school stuff that actually works, that is physical, right? Yeah, absolutely. That's dope. 90% of the shit physical now is just licenses. So again, that shit ain't probably going to work unless we have places like Microsoft and Xbox that want the shit to carry forward and want it to always work and keep the servers on and keep the licenses intact. That's the only way we're going to be able to preserve the games currently speaking, is if that happens, because PC's been all digital for fucking almost 2 decades now. Like they've been done opening up boxes and popping in the CD tray or DVD tray and downloading a game. So you're not gonna do that. Like that's just not a thing. So we're worrying about the wrong shit right now. We do need to get the governments to put protections in for us as consumers, so they can't just willy-nilly change shit or take off licenses randomly for no fucking reason, right? And do that kind of shit, or shut down the servers and not have the game have a single player offline mode. Yeah, we need to start talking about that shit. But overall, this shit ain't coming with you, bro. It's not.
I will say it's weird to
digital
see
ownership.
Yeah, 100%. It's weird to see people that touted Game Pass, argued for Game Pass, loved Game Pass, said about how amazing it is, all these games and all this other kind of stuff, say that they're pissed off that other people get to play the game, so they're going to go where the other place they're going to buy the games that are more expensive than what you were praising before somewhere else that you shat on. You used to shit on this company, shit on this brand because they didn't have the things you were interested in. But they're finally getting the things you were interested in. So that's why you're going there. But you still had them where you were at a better value. And it's not just Game Pass, it's also Xbox Anywhere and all those other kind of things, right? So you're like saying that I'm upset that they made this move, so I'm making a decision out of pride to go somewhere else and essentially punish yourself by leaving the thing that you embraced and praised to now spend more money than you would have had to otherwise to make some kind of a statement. You know what I mean? That's the weird thing, right? Like, because, man, like we said, Pong, when all this was going on last year, and a lot of people were doom and gloom and was saying they were gonna sell their Xbox and all this other kind of stuff, right? People that have praised and loved Game Pass and all these other kind of things. Like, man, you were doing it at the wrong fucking time. Because you are, if anything, with the amount of games coming out in the next couple years, you were just sabotaging your wallet. And if you want to say, well, these games also, you get PS5 Pro enhancements, all that kind of stuff is cool. But whatever, that's fine. But I gotta say, if you wanted the best experience to begin with on any of these games, you would have been playing on PC to begin with. So, is it a win that maybe 1, 2 million, 3 million gamers potentially get slight enhancements on their games? For PlayStation marketing, it is. But as a benefit to you and the overall value in the scheme of things, I don't know. I'm sticking here on Xbox and Game Pass and playing on my console, my PC, and the cloud, and all that
now
stuff.
More games anywhere.
Yeah, they made a statement right before that show.
Yep.
Right, all the games are Xbox Anywhere. You get entitlement for whether you buy them or if it's in Game Pass, you get entitlement for Xbox, you get PC, and in the cloud. That's a win for gamers. That's value. That's inarguable value. But anyway, shout out to the chat. Appreciate y'all being here. Brett Bingham hit us with a 5. Says the people doing this shit should quote Forrest Gump. I'm not a smart man. Yeah, 100%. Here's the thing. It's a thing. It's based off of feelings, based off of pride, based off of emotion, based off of identity, based on feeling justified for your purchase, right? All these other kind of things, right? It has no real weight and actual value to you as a consumer, right? Except for the conversation. So it's all interesting stuff been going on since last year. Man, I've seen the conversations change today and yesterday. I've seen a lot of people that were upset about this. I've seen a lot of people that were saying, this was horrible. This Xbox is, abandoning us as gamers and all these other kind of things. And all these people have said, well, we had to wait and all these other kind of things, being like, well, I'm back on board now, baby, because holy shit, these games look great. And what is the cure-all? Great games. That's what it's always been about. Buzzy, I want to get into these rumors today because there's supposedly even more. So Tom Warren had a on his notepad thing that he does, which is
Can
like
we get Fuzzy's favorite game from the show?
Did I not? Fuzzy.
No,
Thanks,
No.
Pong.
Yeah,
I'm
no
rude.
problem.
My bad.
No.
Fuzzy.
I was just like, we didn't hear Fuzzy's
For me-
take on the whole thing. Yeah, go ahead, Fuzz. Sorry.
I gave the show a 9 out of 10. It's hard getting 10s out of 10s, but it's
fun.
damn near close.
That's
But
fun.
like for me, I really loved what I saw as far as for South of Midnight. I love that they showed more of the lore behind the bosses as far as the tragedy or trauma that they may have experienced, that you're going to have to, I guess, get the backstory before you'll encounter the big boss. And then the environment overall. I'm hoping to have a dedicated photo mode. That's probably the big thing. But I love the scenery and the lighting and some of the just the atmosphere of some of the areas that you'll be exploring. So I'm hoping to, once I get through the story, take a lot of photos or screen caps and things like that from the game. But looking forward to it. But overall, like, I don't think they missed on any of the games they showed. Like Expedition 33, love the concept. Thanos snapping people at whatever age range that one entity writes on the board type of deal, and you're on the most recent expedition and nobody's come back from the previous, and you have like your team that you can situate however you want as far as their abilities, whether you want them as healers or whatever, and go after it. Like, I'm not the biggest turn-based guy either, but I'll give it a shot, especially after playing like a Dragon. This looks to be a little bit even faster pace type of turn-based reaction and action type of setup. So, yeah, there was no misses at this show, but I always look at it I want to say this for a brief moment. For those that want to leave the platform because of the multi-platform aspect of it, instead of leaving it to spend more money out of your pocket, if you want to send a quote unquote negative message to Xbox to let them know how you feel, just do Game Pass like I do with Microsoft Rewards. Don't give them any more money. Just do it Microsoft Rewards. Now, time is money, and depending on how busy of a person you are, that might not be an effective way to do it. But that would be a kind of like a silent protest that will actually be more effective, because you're going over to the other platform, giving that platform 30% to Xbox is 70%, really isn't hurting anybody. If anything, you're helping the elongated decline of Sony right now. And I'm not saying that they're going away tomorrow or anytime soon, but they are in a strange decline where Amazon and Apple might have to swoop in and help them. I mean, it's looking like Microsoft is helping them at the moment with providing them with some games that their first party isn't even churning out. But I would say in the grand scheme of things, keep your console, keep your subscription, do Microsoft Rewards to cover it, and still play the games. Like, if you can play the games on the cheapest possible path, you can play them day one. And then if you choose, like a lot of people choose to own their stuff, buy it when it's 50% off, or buy it around the holiday when it's like 66% off or 75 or 95% off. That's what I've been doing. It's the best way to play stuff when it's released, enjoy it day one, and buy it on the cheap. It's not like Forza Horizon's leaving 6 months after they release it. It's going to be there for the lifetime of the game until it gets delisted. And usually by the time it gets delisted, it's like $5, $2. I mean, I like playing the game at the beginning and then paying the least amount of money that I have to. Because, hey, I put that money towards other devices. Like, I just picked up a Quest 3 by doing things that way. But I don't know. To each their own. I'm all for saving a buck and making those pennies squeal as best I can, and putting them where they could be more effective in other entertainment or enjoyment for me. So
yeah, it
is what it is.
Right on, man. Super appreciate also another $20 super chat from Face23BKNY. Says 30% of what Sony gets from Microsoft is what Sony uses to keep games off of Xbox, and also any other third-party game that is also being sold on PlayStation. Anything they sell is going to fund their things. It's not just the Xbox games that are on PlayStation. But if you want to say that, that's fine, because there are very popular Xbox games already there and have been for a very long time. They're usually in the top 3 or top 4 in the top 15. In the 3 or 4 games in the top 15 games played on PlayStation are actually Microsoft-owned IP, and that doesn't really change. But as well as the 30% or 70% that Xbox makes from selling the games on PlayStation, if you want to look at it this way, they're using to make more games. Also, apparently it's not working too well for Sony, as Square Enix said it's not enough anymore. As Atlas and Sega said it's not enough anymore. As big franchises and big publishers say it's not enough anymore. Yeah, they're going to get some exclusives because they need to. Let me tell you why PlayStation does this. It's a necessity for them because they don't have the breadth of ecosystem that Xbox has across all these devices and across PC and all these other kind of things. They are mainly reliant on sales on their actual physical box hardware. Xbox has been beyond that for a while now. And for PlayStation, they still need to drive primarily console hardware sales, but their first party roadmap is dog shit with very lackluster amounts of games releasing for the next foreseeable few years. So they do these deals to create value for people to have the box, right? Now, is that cool? Whatever. It doesn't fucking matter, right? If you want the box, you go get the box. That's what they're doing. It's not new in gaming. Everybody used to do this, but Xbox used to do this as well. But if you just concentrate on your experience, there's really not too many more exclusives on PlayStation, or maybe even actually less than there's been in the past, especially on the bigger games. And you get Game Pass on Xbox. It's which one is a better value to you, right? And if you want to play every game, you're going to have to do what you've always done: buy every console. Because there's still exclusives on Xbox too. Like it's still a thing. It may be not as often or maybe less, right? But ultimately, the value proposition is the real exclusive is what they're pushing now. They're pushing the Xbox Anywhere. They're pushing the Game Pass, right? They're pushing all these things to say this is the best value you're going to get for all of these games, and they're releasing more than anybody else. So if you want to play Phantom Blade Zero, right? You want to go play Baby Steps. You want to play games like that are being paid for exclusivity, right? Do it. But I'll also tell you this. A lot of these games that are third-party deals that are on PlayStation, guess what? Guess where they will eventually end up? They will also end up on Xbox. So if they're using the 30% to make games exclusive, a lot of them are going to be timed exclusives, much like the timed exclusives that Xbox has from first party that are going to PlayStation. At the end of the day, they're both going to have exclusive experiences and games and all this other kind of stuff. But like, yeah, PlayStation may have more exclusive titles to the platform, but Xbox is going to have more games developed. And if you want to spend more money on PlayStation to play them, go for it. The 30% you spend over there that the PlayStation gets, yeah, they can use that for whatever. The 70% Xbox gets, we're all getting more games because of it. Do it, man. Buy it. Buy the games. Buy them on your PlayStation. Don't worry about PlayStation's 30% keeping a game off of Xbox. Microsoft put in there because they want you to buy them. Do you think they made the decision to put it over there? Like, let's put this over there. I hope nobody buys it. You think if we put this game over there, you think anybody will buy it? I hope not. Use your logic, right? Razor Ultron with the $5 super chat says the attitude you were referring to was bred by the platforms over decades. Pong, this was Pong's point, definitely when we had this conversation last night. With only on Xbox, and this is how you share games. People need time to adjust. Go Birds. Fuck with the Go Birds at the end. Damn it, Razor. Yeah, 100%, man. It is ingrained in our brains. It is ingrained in our brains. Consoles were always a means to an end for the companies to be able to make money off of us as gamers, and the marketing and messaging was always directed at this is the best experience because this is the only place you can play these games. And it's changed now. We're in a different world. So it's going to be difficult for some people to adjust. Absolutely. But fuck, I saw a lot of people adjusting today. I saw a lot of people adjusting yesterday and today. It's funny how quickly you can adjust when you get excited to play some damn games. Anyway, yeah, I want to get into these rumors here. Pong, do you still got like 10 minutes, I guess? Or
yeah, I got like 15 minutes. We're good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Go to the next topic. I'll finish that out.
So we got Tom Warren's notepad, his paid exclusive articles over there on The Verge. Now you have to pay because it's exclusive. It's only available on his platform. You can't get this anywhere else. It creates the value. See how that works? I didn't pay for it. Somebody shared it. The Verge Notepad, Tom Warren, Oblivion remake or remaster in spring. Now, later Hazardor had shared this on Twitter. Thanks you to Hazardor Gaming. Says just add more content, text, and clear wording for Oblivion. He also said possibly early summer, and he's also hoping to see Contraband and Clockwork Revolution at the show, which could be a little hint from Tom Warren, which, you know, he's kind of seems to be in the know sometimes on some of these things early on. Oblivion remake, is this, like, at this point, I mean, this is like got to be a fact, right? Is anybody, Jasper, Mr. Negative, do you object to the fact that Oblivion remake is actually going to release this year?
No, I'm pretty sure it's coming out at the end of June. Like, I just have that feeling. Like, I think they're gonna announce it at E3, and it's gonna come out like a month later.
Okay. So, Fuzzy, are you pretty sure on this too?
I wouldn't doubt it as far as like some of those games. I know some of the other stuff that's listed. I like E-Date is the one that's up there.
Yeah, that's iffy.
Yeah, but Oblivion, I'm kind of surprised we didn't hear about it now. But if it's any regard, I guess we'll hear more about Oblivion when maybe there's another Skyrim update or something, or Elder Scrolls update. Considering how we had the older remaster version of, you know, Ninja Gaiden versus the new one, they'll come in the fall. So maybe we see that in June for, you know, I don't know. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Not E-Day.
Jesse says Oblivion at Summer Games Fest. Pong, when do we get an announcement for Oblivion remake?
I think it's a June showcase.
Do you think it'll be like a shadow drop situation?
Yeah, I think it could be a shadow drop, just like they did with Ninja Gaiden 2, Gaiden 2 Black, and just shadow drop it. I think that good.
Like maybe they show off Elder Scrolls 6, and then like one more thing, here's Oblivion remake.
Yeah, or they just pop
that's a good way of doing it.
Yeah. It would be a good way to do it if they're going to show. I don't think we're going to see Elder Scrolls 6 until next year, but maybe we do. Maybe we do. But yeah, either way, I think it's a perfect game to do it with. To me, this could be bigger than they think it is too, as well as a lot of Elder Scrolls fans go back and play it, especially if it shows up well. Everybody's going to be curious to see how this is going to play in UE5. So I think this actually could be a bigger thing, even this year with all these games, that there's going to be a lot of us Elder Scrolls fans that just want to play it, just try it. But yeah, I think it could be a perfect shadow drop. Totally. And again, Nate the Hate is the one who said June too. So again, we know Nate's got information, and everybody, all the smoke, there's definitely fire here. So,
yeah, I mean, we know, like, according to the Bethesda leaks, like, this game's been in the works for a while. It was supposed to come out like last year or whatever, and like, and it's not like that big of a game to remake. So it's like,
no, it's not.
Everyone's already seen it,
but it just depends how much work they're doing, because they are reworking mechanics and stuff. Obviously, in UE5 is totally. That's what I'm so curious about, Jasper, is how they're going to pull Creation Engine into UE5 and make this work, bro. But I want to see it, and it's a whole different studio. It's not Bethesda. Obviously, Bethesda's overseeing it, but yeah, I think it's possible. Like you said, Jasper, it was on the list. It's been on the list. I think the Fallout 3 remake is real. I think that we get that next year. But I think this year is Oblivion, and it's the perfect game to shadow drop. So I'll stop repeating myself, but I think that's the perfect way to do it.
Yeah, it worked well for them with Ninja Gaiden. Yeah, today, right?
Well, think it. Doom's going to be out May 15th. You got a break there then of a few weeks. Get the showcase. Drop Oblivion remake, like, it's perfect, like, it's great. We got all these other RPGs, you know, Outer Worlds 2, Fable, Avowed. Sure, drop Oblivion in the middle of all of it, right in summer. Fuck it. Why not? Do it.
I mean, this was probably I think we all agree that, well, besides Jasper, that this was the best Xbox Dev Direct they've had, right? Jasper, I don't remember. Maybe it still is, because you probably gave the other ones a 5.
Yeah. I think the first one they ever did was the best one still for me.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, they've all been fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, they haven't really like the Dev Direct is the best way of showcasing games. You know, the summer showcase is like this huge spectacle of just oh my god, like huge fucking moments, right? And then like to actually get to the nitty gritty of showcasing the games, like I think the Dev Directs are like the best thing in gaming for showcasing games that we get. Period, right? But yeah, this was definitely I think the best. But I want to go through with Tom Warren's added information, right? He also speculated on this other thing. Again, doubling down on the fact that he thinks that they are targeting 2025 for Gears E-Day. Now, this has been numerous people have been reporting on this. Tom Warren was the first one to say it. I think so last year, and he goes on to say it again that they're targeting 2025 for Gears E-Day. Like, and again, a few weeks ago, Fuzzy and Pong and I tried to break down the 25, 26, and no matter how you cut it, like it's still fucking crazy, right? Either year. So you don't necessarily like create space for Gears E-Day by putting it this year. It's going to be crowded next year too. But I want to live in this imaginary, feasible, speculatory world where this actually happens. I want the roadmap because we have the first half roadmap now for first party releases for Xbox in 2025. I'll start it off, Pong, and I want you to finish it off with the other games. So we have Avowed in February. We have April 8th, we have South of Midnight. May 15th, we have Doom the Dark Ages. What's next?
Oblivion remake.
Okay.
Shadow dropped. Evil Oblivion Shadow dropped. Yeah.
So, I'm writing these down as we go. Avowed, February.
Yeah.
South of Midnight, April 8.
Mhm.
And then Doom,
Mhm.
May 15.
Mhm.
Then you got Oblivion remake
Yep.
for June showcase.
June showcase, yeah.
What's after that? Yeah, let's see. Like Fuzzy, do you want to chime in? What do you think is after? If Oblivion remake is June showcase, what's following that from Xbox first party? We still have Fable, still have Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah.
You still have Gears E-Day. There's Call of Duty, which we kind of know where to slot that, but we'll get to it.
Yeah. Well, see, before this notepad thing, I was expecting either Fable would be the game at the end of the June showcase,
For the Dev
and then
Direct.
Gamescom would be Everwild. I could see those being flipped. Because I guess both studios are UK based, and that would be closer to home to show them at Gamescom. So either Fable gets shown at June and Everwild gets shown in August. I think that's when Gamescom is.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Everwild at June, Fable at Gamescom. But I'm pretty sure Fable would probably come sooner. And I was originally thinking before this E-Day in 25 was more talked about, I was thinking Outer Worlds 2 would be that December game to kind of go in place of what Indiana Jones did last year. And then maybe we get the Indiana Jones DLC in November, December as well. But I think Fable and bookend it with Outer Worlds 2, and then who knows where GTA 6 lands in between that.
Yeah, I mean, do we think if GTA 6 doesn't hit 2025 that it's early 2026, or they go ahead and do fall or something?
What they did for GTA 5 is it was supposed to be spring, I think, and then delayed it to fall, and then it was spring of the next year. So,
Right.
I don't know.
Spring. I think if it's delayed out, and they
Like
gotta
May
be close.
of 2026.
April, May, yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood. I mean, they could drop it whenever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then I think
They
it
could
got
launch
pushed
it on
back to-
fucking Christmas. It's
didn't.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, and then it got delayed till spring, and then it came out the fall. Like, so it was originally a fall game, then it was delayed till spring, and then it came out the fall of next year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But this time around, I think if they delay it again, it's got to be spring. I think they got to. I mean, I guess they don't have to do shit. Whatever. They're still printing money, so who really cares at this
Yeah.
point? But I just think that at some point you got to launch it. But I think spring. Again, the gaming industry has changed since that era, right? Since the last one.
Yeah.
The beginning of the year is great for fucking gaming. So I mean, and again, it's the unicorn. He knows it. Strauss knows it. So I think they just drop it in spring. I think they
Yeah.
get it out of the way in spring if it's ready. So
Shane says if that happens, then they will have in 2026 Xbox will have a stretch of 4 to 5 months, no huge games. And then gamers will be like, "Where are my games?" And Game Pass not giving me enough.
no, because that's not true, Shane. Because I think that if this happens, I mean, Clockwork Revolution will be ready springtime. I think that's why there's the rumor is we're going to see it at Summer Showcase. That would be
Contraband.
Contraband.
There was also
Um,
rumors that Perfect Dark was targeting this year.
Yeah, Perfect Dark could be. I think Perfect Dark's the late game next year. Obviously, it just makes a lot of sense. But again, it we'll see. But I don't think we'll have. I think we'll still have another beginning. And I'm still on the train that I think that Fable moves and they slot Gears in at the end of this year. I don't think they put both this year.
Outer Worlds and Fable.
Yeah, well, yeah, but Gears, I just
Oh,
don't
yeah,
think that
yeah, yeah.
Gears comes out the same year as Fate. I think if Gears is ready, and that's why all this smoke is starting to build up that Gears is ready and it's aiming for this year, and Fable's that game that you don't want. Again, you can give it as much polishing time as you want to. Again, it's Playground, right? So just keep polishing it. You bump that to next year. So you'll have Clockwork Revolution and Fable out the gate next year within that first half of the year, plus Contraband. Like, so you got 3 games in that first half, at least. We could have something else in there too that we're not aware of.
Yeah.
I mean,
at some point,
Everwild,
Everwild's got to drop. At some point, we're gonna see probably Zenimax Online's game.
correct?
There'll be another expansion for Starfield.
Right.
Um,
Forza Horizon 6.
Forza Horizon 6 it has a potential to be
So-
next year.
Something next year. Yep.
So
I don't think
State
you
of
will have
Decay
that-
3 could be next year.
Yeah. State of Decay late next year. I would expect
Blade
later
could be
if it's
next
ready.
year.
Hmm.
Potentially
Mm,
2027.
When did they announce
I'm
it?
thinking
2022? Did they announce it?
They announced
22
it
or
last year at the
Not
Game
last
Awards. No, not
Oh,
last
no.
year. 2023.
well, 23.
23.
Yeah.
I'm still
So
in
only-
2024 mentally.
Yeah.
It'll only be
2023.
It'll only be 3 years in. I think that's 2027. So somewhere in that neighborhood. Arcane's really fast. Arcane Leon, especially. Just depends what type of game, how big it is, but 2027, I would expect. I mean, they could shock the
Yeah,
world.
at best, I would think.
What about this
But I think
Halo
I think they got
CE
solid.
remake that everybody's
That-
talking about?
That's why I think you kind of fool around with this stuff. Again, we talked about this. Like drop them. But this year you're good from start to end. So then you can kind of play around with next year. Again, GTA 6 is going to determine a lot of this shit too. Booty's already said it. So we got to kind of wait on GTA 6. But I just don't think that you drop Gears and Fable in the same year. I think one of them moves to 2026. Whichever one's more ready or the best is goes. I mean, that's.
I just have a hard time trusting a lot of Gear smoke just because, like, the last few years it was like, oh, it's Marcus Phoenix collection, and it never
agree.
showed up.
I agree, Jasper. I've been on the train that I don't think E-Day's ready. But Coalition are wizards, and who knows? They could have been lying this whole time and working on it. Like, fucking.
Yeah.
They said they were taking a break. They said they were testing out UE5 and becoming, proficient at it. Blah blah blah. They could have had a fucking team working on this goddamn thing the whole damn time. Like, who knows? So
See, I would, if I was to make a bet, I would have said Gears would be like a summer game for next or-
Gears fall.
See, when they showed off Gears, I was like, oh, that's like a fall 26 game at best.
Gears is fall, bro.
year.
I mean, I
Yeah,
could see a lot
maybe,
of
but like, what else do you have for next year? I mean, they could have some massive shit. Like
State of Decay, Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
Perfect Dark. So do you put Perfect Dark in the spring?
Plus, you're
summer?
gonna have a Call of Duty this fall again too, as well.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be a mainline
Yeah.
per se,
Right.
but
So
you'll
let's
have
get
Call of
okay, let's get back into the realm of thinking where Gears is this year
So-
because Tom Warren says so, or says that they're targeting it, right? I just want to know where to put these games for this year. if
I
this
think
happens?
it's so. I'd say Call of Duty's, since it's not a full on Call of Duty's probably October
Mhm.
and not a November game, and you put Gears in November.
Okay, so Gears E-Day would be November. So where do you put Fable?
December game like Indiana Jones.
Okay. So October, November, December, massive titles releases. Wouldn't be too different than
Well,
this year, actually.
I mean,
Like,
yeah, Call of Duty is its own thing. Like it's
yeah,
you're not really-
exactly. So what did you say, Fuzz? So you said there's Oblivion. We had Oblivion remake in June, and then what was your prediction for the next one?
I'm thinking Fable. Originally I was thinking that would be September, October range. Probably closer to September, just because that's typically when Playground releases stuff. I mean, it's a totally different genre, but figure still September.
See that my thought was
So where does Outer Worlds 2 fit?
that's my thought.
Another
Outer
one.
Worlds would be a little
Outer
earlier.
Worlds 2. I mean, I could see Outer Worlds 2 being earlier, but I something told me it was. I just had a gut feeling it would be a December game in place of Indiana Jones. Yeah, it's not the same scope, or at least I don't think it is. But then again, it is supposed to be twice the size of the original game,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, you get a lot of playtime out of that game. So it's going to be probably an 80-hour game, probably.
Okay,
More
so
than likely.
here's where I'm going. Okay. I'm going to do Fable in November. And I'm going to put I'm going to put it in October. Sorry. I'm going to put Fable in October. Maybe earlier October or maybe like a week or two separate, so a couple weeks separated from Call of Duty. Okay. And then I will have Gears for the November game. Late November. So, and then before that, I would put Oblivion at the June showcase, but then I would slot Outer Worlds 2 in like August. It would be like 6 months after Avowed.
I was thinking September for Outer Worlds, if anything, if it comes out this year.
This is Matt Booty's dilemma we're experiencing here. Right? Because, okay, we'll say, let's just move Gears to March, or let's move Fable to March. Okay, well, we have Clockwork Revolution planned for them. We have Perfect Dark planned for April. We have fucking this planned for June. We have this planned for May. We have, they have so many games. We hardly know anything about other stuff ABK is making. That has not been revealed yet. There are so many projects that we know are in the works at a lot of these studios that have not been revealed yet. What about Double Fine's game? Where's it going to fall?
they got it. Yeah, they got at least 2 projects that we know of, or a small game and a bigger game, maybe a third project in there. So, and there's Ninja Theory with Project Mara, and we know they already got approved for Hellblade 3, but I don't think that's their next game. So,
Whatever else Obsidian's working on too, because they like.
oh yeah.
Also, In Exile they said they have 2 games, right? As far as what I remember, and then we have Forza Horizon 6 to think about. Halo stuff, the Wu-Tang game. You have Everwild.
Was it ever mentioned that Playground Games has a third team? I think they have a third team. They have their Horizon team, and that's not really counting the ones that are doing the content update stuff. The ones that would be working on 6 are considered a team. Then you got the Fable team, and I thought there was a third team.
Right. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, it'd be possible.
Maybe you heard something.
Yeah, you're a little bit more connected to the Forza teams than we are, Fuzzy. I think sometimes because of some of the stuff that you let slip. But these are just games that we know have a chance to be potentially around 2026, right? Nate
Yeah.
Dogg said August for Outer Worlds 2. Or Mag, and Nate Dogg says Mag said August for Outer Worlds 2.
Okay. I mean, that's where I was gonna put it after Oblivion. So yeah, that sounds about right for an Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah.
So I think Fable's later in the year. I think Fable's your last game of the year, potentially.
What would you release first, Fable or Gears? If they both released this year.
Gears.
See,
Yeah.
I think Gears you put after October. Because
I think
the
Gears you put
multiplayer
September.
aspect with
I
Call
think
of
you
Duty.
put Gears September before Call of Duty.
Okay, September for Gears before Call of Duty.
I think you should do that, but I don't think they do that if it does come out that way. Just
The
'cause,
only
like,
reason I haven't been thinking that is because like it seems so far fetched to me that it was 2025 to begin with. It's like got to be for me like
Well, no,
mentally.
that's what I'm saying. You're
at the
squeezing
end.
it in. No matter what you're gonna do, you squeeze it in. No matter what you're gonna do, Call of Duty, Gears is gonna pull the Gears crowd, right? The Gears is gonna pull the Gears crowd. That's what's gonna happen for the multiplayer. It's not gonna matter if Call of Duty shows up. Gears crowd is going to be all back into Gears for at least to see how it plays. And if it plays great, then you're going to have a big crowd there that doesn't give two shits about Call of Duty that much anymore, because Gears is a total different experience, right? So I think you can do it either way. I would just launch it before and then get Call of Duty, especially since it's not a mainline, and then have Fable 2 months,
yeah, because
later in
your
November.
multiplayer season is between September and November, like,
Yeah.
and then you usually cap off the year with a big single player. Like,
Yeah.
that's how it goes.
I don't think there's a wrong way per se. I
Yeah.
don't think there's a right way I think it's kind of, again, when you get to this point where you're crunching in games like this, it is what it is. I mean, you're gonna step on toes, and I've always said just drop them. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
If that's the case. But I
mean,
think
no matter
again,
what,
that's why one of these pushes, because 2026, then you got a strong first half again, a really strong first half, because either you have Gears or you have Fable ready for the first half next year to go along with Clockwork Revolution, to go along with Contraband. Like that's a nice lineup for your first half again. I mean, you're swinging.
There's no way you put Gears out first half. Like, if you delay it, you're putting it at the end of second half of next year.
I don't think you have to anymore, Jasper. I don't think you do. I
Yeah,
know what you're saying.
I mean, if you
don't-
put it, do you put it further away from Call of Duty at that point? Because if it is 2026, then Call of Duty is going to be a big one.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know, those two crowds, like, people are going to play their Gears, people are going to play their Call of Duty, or they're going to play both. It's like, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. You get the people. You're gonna pull Gears fans no matter what,
Yeah.
right? Even if they're
Yeah.
knee deep in Call of Duty, they're coming, right? They're gonna play. But you're also gonna have a lot of people by that point that are probably falling off Call of Duty springtime next year. So you throw Gears at them with a third person multiplayer attached to it, and you could grab a nice sized crowd out of that group that's already fallen off Call of Duty, which happens every fucking year.
Would Gears E-Day launch day and date multiplat?
I've said from the beginning, yes. I don't see any reason why not.
E-Day launch what? Day and
Multiplat
date.
on PlayStation, and maybe I don't know if it would be playable on a Switch too.
Speaking of, do you think people may be getting the rumors kind of like, they hear like Gears is coming out this year? Like, do you think they're maybe mixing up some of the stuff? Because like there was that rumor like Gears Ultimate might be coming to PlayStation this year. Like, is it possible like they're just hearing Gears coming out this year and they're
I would
extrapolating?
normally
Always
say
possible.
yes, but not Tom Warren.
He did get it wrong on Starfield as far as the timing.
What did he say originally?
He said it was one of those that was on that list. And then when everybody started backtracking, he was like one of the last ones to do the backtrack.
Well, on the list for multiplat.
Yeah. Before the business update.
Tom Warren.
But like I'm gonna go out on a weird limb, and I know this will probably catch some heat, but I don't, if the Gears collection is a thing, does E-Day need to have multiplayer?
Yes.
If you don't launch Gears with multiplayer, you just killed 75% of that game.
Okay.
It's got the same expectation as Halo. You got to do it, bro. Yeah,
It
especially
doesn't.
for the Gears.
It depends on like the scope of the game or how grand the multiplayer experience is. I think like what you're doing. Like if but I think this is their next big Gears game, so I don't see like
Yeah.
how they're treating it. They're treating it like a full-fledged Gears. Like the only Gears of War Judgment even did it have a full-fledged multiplayer? I can't remember.
Yeah, it did.
Let's feel.
And
I
they
remember it had like some new
Yeah, it had
modes
the
that they
Horde.
presented. Yeah,
It had the Horde and stuff that really took off, right? But it had multiplayer too.
like yeah. I mean, I think you.
But just
That's the
overall,
only one I
had
skipped,
cold
really. So I
rece-
don't
well,
know.
yeah, because it got a cold reception, so
Yeah.
none of it really.
I had fun with it. I liked it.
I went back and played it. You guys know that.
Is-
I think you got to have a Gears multiplayer though. You have to. You have to drop it.
Because the thing I was thinking with the rumblings of it going to PlayStation and whatnot, from a business standpoint, I was thinking, hey, maybe the Phoenix Collection goes day and date to PlayStation. That has the multiplayer in it. PlayStation players can play the multiplayer. They can play the Gears Collection, and that's what they get. E-Day stays as a single player or co-op player, story-driven game without multiplayer. Although I don't know, do they do a somewhat separate free-to-play version of the multiplayer like they did with Halo? I was kind of wondering if that might be something that they start doing moving forward, since they're going to do part multiplayer or part multiplat, or at least dipping their toe in it. I think
If
the
they do
multiplayer stuff
anything,
goes there.
I think it would be more like how Halo kind of launched, where like wasn't the multiplayer like 2 weeks later or whatever?
For
I
the for
I think the
Halo
multiplayer
Infinite?
launched before the campaign.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. The multiplayer was
Yeah,
first.
because they had it's like because they had it was like an open beta that led into launch kind of.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you remember because they had the show and you can play it starting today, and everybody was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah!" And it was amazing. Shout out to Spartan661 with the $10 super chat that said, "Just a reminder that Lord Cognito is doing body squats during the majority of the Iron Lords podcast show Sunday. To give him break time, send membership chats or give out memberships during the show. ILP goes on 4 hours." Yeah.
Love those guys. Shout out to ILP.
What?
Yeah, he's doing the squats
Cog
the
is
whole
in his
show.
bag right now with Ninja Gaiden coming back though. Holy shit. People are hitting him up going, I can't believe I've never played a Ninja Gaiden. Now I understand Cog. Cog is just totally in his bag. It's so funny, bro. He's like a proud papa watching all these people try Ninja Gaiden for the first time. It's freaking awesome. I love it.
Classic
love it.
franchise, man. And
Oh, fuck yeah. People don't understand. That's what I'm saying. Jasper doesn't get it, but I think a lot of people are going to find out, man. People are going to find out. I'm so happy it's back. I'm so happy that Platinum, again, I wasn't going to hold my breath without Itagaki, but the minute that Platinum showed up on that screen, I was like, fuck yes. Let's go. Okay. That's a good trade right there. If I can't get Itagaki, Platinum making this, and sure enough, the combat, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, holy shit, this is fucking Platinum. This is beautiful.
Antonio Newman asked a question earlier. Which do you think they value more, Fable or Gears? I mean, I think they value them both very highly and equally. They put a lot into this Fable game. They have a lot. I would say for a franchise, I would say there's more writing on Fable in this game, right? To make sure you get this launch right, because Gears I think is more cemented. Just as a franchise in general, and gamers,
It's
like
one of the pillars of Xbox.
yeah, it's and Fable was, but it's been so long.
They've got 2 shows supposedly in the works with Gears.
Yeah.
So that shows how much they want this IP to take off. Like,
So
again,
I think that they have like more. I guess like the Gears franchise to them would be something that's more. It has been a stable thing, right? I mean, they had 2 games last generation. You know, they're doing the shows. They have another new game coming out now, but it's been since the 360 days since we've had a Fable, right?
Fable 3 was ass.
New develop. It was still fun. It was like Fable 2 was the best in my opinion, but like Fable 3 was a good game, but it wasn't necessarily as good in some ways. So it kind of tarnished reputation a little bit, but Fable is a core important game for them. That's why they're bringing it back, right? It was one of the most requested franchises to bring back. Same thing with Perfect Dark. I think they have a lot of a lot of weight in Perfect Dark coming back as a franchise. They want these to be big franchises again for them, right? So I think there's kind of more writing on the Fable launch with the future of the franchise.
Absolutely.
So with that, I think that weighs a certain level of importance for how you do the launch, right? Now, all of them are important, and Gears being a massive franchise is also important. But like these guys are saying, like people are going to show up for it no matter what. But there's been a lot of people that forgot about Fable. So you kind of have to reinvigorate that brand and that identity and the reason why people loved it in the first place. You know,
Absolutely.
to many, it's like Jasper's fucking Ninja Gaiden.
Yep.
You know, it like
Well, it's more important than that, just because it's a big RPG as well, which
Yeah.
could again add to the stable of Western RPGs if they nail it. And it's just it's been gone for so long. They really do, like you said, have to reinvigorate it, and really pull something completely different, but hold what made the original Fable, and that's why they brought all the original writer, a lot of the original writers in, got a lot of the band back together, to make sure that that was going to happen. And from what we've seen so far, it feels like they've done it. And if they stick this, then you've got, again, number one, Playground becoming your probably at that point your best studio. Like if they stick Fable, like they got to be considered like top two in your stable, and that's
Well, I
what
mean,
they've
they
always
make
wanted.
your two like big
You're right.
name franchises, two of them.
Racing and RPG, like
Yeah.
again, that's something that will be thought. So then you've got that, but also now you got a two-horse team as well with two massive franchises underneath one studio that are going to build out your future that obviously are probably going to go multi-plat, which are going to be great for everybody else and bring in more revenue to the house. So I think that the Fable sticking the landing from Playground is the bigger deal for this launch. Gears is still established, even though it's fallen off. Obviously, again, we're not going to sit here and play around. It's fallen off for a variety of reasons. That's why they're doing E-Day and not completing the trilogy.
Yeah.
But I just think Fable coming back would be massive for Xbox. Like, my God, you're gonna throw that's the dream come true for them. So from one of their best teams, that's huge. So I think that's why it's so important. So
100%.
I gotta get out of here, Meth.
Yeah.
So
Everybody say
thank
bye
you.
to Pong.
Hi, everybody. Appreciate you all. No living split screen tomorrow morning. The signs went out. Everybody's been retweeting it, liking it. Thank you all for that. No living split screen. So enjoy your Saturday morning. Go check out Kay Asante and Everborn on the Gaming Circle podcast, or go do something, whatever you're going to do, but go have fun. Hopefully we'll be back soon on living split screen, but love you all. Thank you all for being here. Brothers, it was awesome to talk with you guys tonight, and I will see you all soon. So thanks, guys.
Right on, Pong. Hey, thanks for being here tonight, man. Appreciate you.
Of course, brother. Yeah, no problem.
So just getting back to so we went to Gears E-Day, possibly Fable. It's hard to place them. Like it's hard to place them.
I just don't think yours comes out this year, but
yeah. I'm actually, like, my heart tells me no, right? Or my brain does. My heart wants it, but like my brain tells me no. But other people keep insisting this. So I can't like ignore the ones that have repeatedly gotten a lot of stuff right before. You know, I mean, it's hard to ignore them when they keep saying that they're targeting, but they didn't say it was a guarantee. It just said they were targeting, right? So if it happens, this year is absolutely insane. Now what was rumored also was Perfect Dark originally was targeting this year, and it has been moved to 2026. So these are games. I'm going to run down a list here that I was just jotting down, and I probably forgot some that could either be that are probably about a year away or two at the most, right? The Perfect Dark, City of Decay 3, Halo something, right? Blade, Forza Horizon 6, the Wu-Tang game, Everwild, Toys for Bob's game, People Can Fly, game, $50 million project. I don't expect that to be a massive $500 million like 7-year development cycle thing, right? Contraband, Double Fine game. They have multiple projects. I don't know what. Clockwork Revolution. Fuck. Potentially In Exile second game, and also something else from Obsidian. Because if they're launching Outer Worlds 2 this year and Avowed, like what's next year?
Did InXile say they were trying to put out something every year?
That was Obsidian.
Yeah.
And Avowed was supposed to be last year, and it got pushed to this year. Outer Worlds 2 was their slated game, I think, originally for this year. That's why they just told us, hey, this year. That's why we're getting potentially 2 Obsidian games in 1 year. But that means we could get something from Obsidian next year.
I call Stormlands, but if it's some sort of Fallout project, I think the internet will break.
Well, I mean, there's that Fallout 3 remake that's been rumored off that Bethesda leak before, so.
Yeah, I would imagine if there's a 2026 Obsidian game, it's going to be it's going to be a smaller type thing, potentially.
Yeah.
Like,
Pentiment size or.
Yeah. Something grounded, Pentiment, something like that. I think somebody said they stopped doing newer updates on grounded potentially. So.
Yeah, I think that was Dirt said they were done with it.
Yeah, so like if they did that, then what's coming from that team that was doing all the grounded stuff, right? Never know, man. Lots of things. Nate Dogg in the chat earlier said that that they had opened another studio, Playground, in Leamington Spa, so they have 3 studios now, and that supposedly the rumor is that Mag said that they're potentially working on an air combat game.
Yeah, that's what I remember hearing that.
So,
did you say Everwild in that list?
Yes. And there's other ones too. I mean, you have like Project Dragon from IO Interactive, but I don't know what's coming first, their Bond game or that. You have, I said, the People Can Fly game, right? You have Halo projects that put on there because you have different things going on with different teams, right? Certain Affinity was working on something, there's been smoke around like a potential Halo CE remake or something like that, or a reboot, or I don't know.
If they do that, I just hope it's bigger than just CE. Like, I kind of hope it's a Halo 1 through 3-ish remake all in one game. But
there's the Gears collection, Killer Instinct 2, which has not been announced, but I mean, we got to give special Nick credit, like at this point, for a 2022 thing that got announced 2020 and 2025 as far off as it was, to say that Platinum was working on Ninja Gaiden was a very specific thing. This is not in the realm of like a good guess. I mean, this was legit information that he had early on, right? And he also had said Killer Instinct 2 was picked up by a studio. We see Iron Galaxy back in the fold now, doing these things and all this other kind of stuff. So he also was on the Gears collection, right? So like, I would chalk these up to more than likely true things at this point as well. So, I mean, it doesn't matter if Gears launches this year or next year. They're going to be overloaded either way. So, if it's ready, launch it.
Yeah. I hope, see, for me, not that I'm a Gears head in any way, shape, or form, but anniversary is next year, so it feels sentimental to kind of have it in line with the anniversary. But
So
then
what-
again, you could launch the game the year before and then have an update that's anniversary related.
So what if you do this? You launch Gears E-Day, which is technically a prequel, this year,
Mhm.
and on the anniversary you launch the collection to fit in line with the anniversary, and that way people have a chance to play the prequel, loading into next year where they can play the original games and follow the story.
Yeah, but at the
Lines
same
up.
time, like they've already made the collection on Xbox, so it would probably be easier than just to like kind of upgrade a little bit and put it out for PlayStation than it would be to rush E-Day out.
Well, I'm not saying rush E-Day.
Yeah.
I'm saying if it's actually ready, like if I I don't know how it's the Coalition's been working on something ever since Gears 5. Originally they had multiple projects in the works. Then they had put maybe this was like 3 years ago, Fuzzy, I think, when they had put the
Mhm.
other ones on the back burner. This was like around the
Yeah.
announcement of UE5, right? They had those UE5, hey, they're working on multiple things. Then they put two of them on the back burner. They came out and made a post about it, right? And said we're
Mhm.
solely focusing on our next game. This was a couple years back. And it was quiet until the Gears E-Day announcement, right?
Yeah.
Now, also something else that Xbox has said that they are kind of more announcing games closer to release now. Not with the stuff they did with State of Decay and Perfect Dark and all those things. They're
Oh, you mean like 12 months?
right, like your thing with the whole 12-month roadmap, right?
Yeah.
Now they may still announce things that end up being further away, but they announced it last year at Summer Show.
Yeah.
If they launches this year, at any point, even if it's in the second half, that fits.
I'm
in
gonna
line
say,
with
I'm
your
gonna say
thinking.
something crazy. What about Halo and Gears for next year?
For
I mean, if you're
2026.
launching a new console, that would be a 1-2 knockout punch. So
Because I mean, it is like everyone's saying, like it is like Xbox and Halo's kind of 25th year next year. Like you go big for your 25th anniversary.
Yeah, they tried to go big for their 20th, but they missed the boat.
Yeah,
on
and
it.
then fucking 343 is a shit studio, and
They're Halo Studios now. What? Hey, I
Yeah.
have
Guys,
I never
action.
got to ask you about this because you were gone.
yeah,
Now you're a Halo head, right?
yeah.
Love Halo. I'm just curious because you were busy doing other things at this time when this was announced and stuff.
Yeah.
The Unreal Engine movement of Halo, the new studio name, Pierre Heinz now is obviously the studio head. You know, they have a new branding. They showcase the UE. They showcase the Unreal Engine like test bed kind of thing of them
Yeah.
building the world within it. This is going to be the foundation of how we build our Halo games. Like as a Halo fan, like what are your thoughts on this whole direction? Just curious because I never got to ask you.
So, I'm actually really happy with it because I feel like 343, like the studio's name has just been stained with
Yeah.
bad project after bad like launch, and so I'm glad that they kind of moved away from that. And then with Halo going Unreal, I don't really mind it because I know a lot of people are like, but the Halo feel or whatever. But like every Halo to me is felt different and played a little different. So like going to Unreal, it's not going to be that big of a deal. It just be like playing a different Halo. So I don't mind Unreal, and I think it's actually better for the game overall because you have people that know how to make shit for Unreal instead of this magic engine that's never been seen before. So
Right.
I think it's better for Halo overall. And honestly, like even though like we may not get the wrap up to Halo Infinite story, like I'm kind of glad they're rebooting Halo or remastering or whatever they're doing, just because I feel like Halo kind of needs a fresh start. It's just been just the bad games after bad games. It's kind of I think tarnished Halo's reputation over the years. So they need to do something new.
I loved them for what it's worth. Like I loved every single Halo that's come out. Like but I understand.
I'm not
what you
saying
mean.
I don't like them.
Yeah, it's the sentiment, the overall sentiment has still been kind of like tarnished right
Yeah.
from the negativity and stuff, regardless of my own perception of the quality of it has been good, right? But yeah, I think the rebranding there is going to be key for them. Kind of, it's like a differentiator, you know,
Yeah.
like a clear defining point. We are now this, so let's judge us on this, right? So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, man. The Halo fans are, I will say, the most demanding out of any fan base of any franchise. Period. I
And
will
hopefully with
say
them-
the Halo fan base is the most demanding.
And hopefully them kind of like maybe restarting this Halo series, like that gives them a chance to make more spin-off games and have and branch the game out to other internal studios to make their own kind of Halo projects if they want. Because like that's one of my major complaints with Xbox. Like they're so controlling over Halo that they don't let people experiment with it and get like creative with the game. It's just like we got to do the next Master Chief thing, and then it's just this, and then they kind of ruin that. So it's like,
Yeah.
give us something different.
I realized when I was running down that list of games, I forgot about Zenimax Online's game.
Yeah. I think that gets announced at June. I think we
Gotta
get
be.
smacked in the face, whatever that thing is, whether it's licensed IP. I know we've heard that it's a new IP and that it's not like Starfield MMO. I would still love a Starfield MMO, but if it's not, they already do fantasy stuff or high fantasy with, Elder Scrolls and Skyrim. You got space with Starfield. What would be the next thing? Would it be something like? And you got post-apocalyptical with Fallout. I'm gonna guess something either like Blade Runner or Cyberpunk kind of thing.
Be cool.
Also, I assume World's Edge is working on something
Yeah.
because I mean,
They-
Empires of 4 has been out.
They had already
a couple years now.
announced that they partnered with the studio that are working on something. So, don't know what that is, right? You know what game we forgot to place for 2025? We know fall. Ninja Gaiden 4. It's
Yeah.
first party. It as crazy as it sounds, it's technically first party. That's what they consider because they're publishing the game. So where do we put that? Do we put it like after Outer Worlds 2, between Outer Worlds 2 and September?
I was
If
late
Outer
leaning
Worlds
towards
2 was
September.
August, yeah.
I'm like torn between
I mean, you also can put 2 games out in the same month. You don't have to have
yeah,
each
for
game its own
sure.
month. Yeah.
They're doing that in April with South of Midnight and well, then again,
Yeah.
Expedition 33 is not theirs, but they'll still be.
I mean,
in
they're
Game
treating
Pass
it
same
like
time.
with the like it's a big deal for them, right? So
I think Ninja Gaiden comes out like maybe a week or 2 or a week after Call of Duty.
okay,
After Call of Duty.
A week, 2 or before or after. Just like it's going to be real close to the Call of Duty launch. Just have a feeling.
okay, October. Fuck. I mean, we're getting to a point now where we said like, hey, one day Xbox is gonna get to where they have one game a quarter. We're like, they got a fucking game a month here, guys. I mean, we just had Indiana Jones,
Mhm.
Avowed, South of Midnight, Doom, Oblivion, Outer Worlds 2. Did I say Avowed? I forgot. I think I forgot to say Avowed.
You did.
Yeah,
Okay, I
you
did.
said
Okay.
that.
Ninja Gaiden, Fable.
Mhm.
If Gears Z-Day hits this year, Call of Duty again. Mind blown.
Stacked.
Imagine seeing people's reactions at this Dev Direct and how everybody responded. I wonder how everybody's going to respond after the showcase this year, because we could see even more big game announcements and more games announced for this year and then also next year, right? And I think like there's a thing here to where other people are starting to be more receptive to Xbox games in a way that weren't before because they know there's a chance
Well,
they might get them, right?
yeah.
So it's like created this weird way. It's like we saw this with these announcements at the Dev Direct that all gamers are getting excited for these games in a way that's kind of like helping Xbox's identity in some ways, you know? And I think Summer Showcase could do the same thing. And it's like, wow, all gamers are getting excited about Xbox. Kind of a weird twist on how last year went down, right? So
Yeah.
anyway, it's gonna be a crazy year this year. Let's see here. Phil Spencer had 2 interviews today. Do you know if he said anything noteworthy? Razor Ultron said. Well, there he doubled down on the fact that they're making hardware, that it's a huge part of Xbox, all that kind of stuff. He doubled down on putting games in other places, and there will be more that continues to do so. And they want to make the hardware purchases people make based on the features of the hardware and the quality of the hardware, not based on what games other people can't play, is what he basically said.
Wait,
Right?
I'm kind of starting to think with this new direction that Xbox is going that they may speed up their hardware cycles, and kind of drop the gen thing. Like after like this next gen launches, like I'm wondering if they're going to kind of start doing more of the phone model where like every couple years you get a new console.
It'll depend on the chip manufacturers. Like they'll be probably just as fast to market as like the Legion Go or the ROG
Yeah.
Ally and that stuff. Like, oh, AMD has a new chipset, smaller die. Okay, how fast can we swap that in place of what we have in the current box? So I think mid-gen refreshes will be the norm moving forward. Everything will seem like a mid-gen refresh. It'll just be, better chip for AI, better chip for, CPU, GPU, or APU, as you call it, kind of thing. Yeah, I think you're onto something with that faster turnaround on those.
Yeah. And the hardware, hopefully, like Pong said, is compelling enough for people want it, and you have Game Pass and Xbox Anywhere and stuff. I mean, it's very stark contrast to the things that they've said in the past. Like Phil Spencer was like, was it 2023? He stood up there and was like, "We are not a third party publisher." Like before that, like
Yes.
he talked about like not putting games on other places so that way it helps the competition, all these other kind of things. But like, the corporate tagline has moved on to something completely different now, and that's what they're running with. So you can like it or you cannot like it, but it isn't going to change what's happening. And ultimately, like I've been saying ever since they started shifting this way, if you focus on your own experience, nothing really changes except maybe you're actually getting more games. So
I do think though if they go that like faster hardware refresh rate, like I think the stuff is going to be a little bit more expensive because they'll be wanting to make more money off the actual hardware at that
yeah, they're
point.
not. Well, man,
Yeah.
it sounds like shit I said 4 years ago when we starting the
Mhm.
channel.
Yeah.
I
Premium
said,
Xbox.
people said I was fucking delusional about this stuff.
Yeah, again, like I remember this conversation. I was like, I don't want this, and I still don't want this because I know consoles are going to be like fucking mad expensive.
Yeah.
But I think
Like-
that's the route they're going.
But $700,
Yeah.
Super Xbox Series 2.
So eventually, the consoles are going to be something that is a smaller market that's more for the enthusiast, and they're going to release hardware more based on like profit consoles to the enthusiast, to sell hardware to them and for them to still have something to buy, but they're not going to be willing to take the big losses on those anymore, right? Because they don't need to, because they have so many other places that the games are going to be accessible. Like the cloud, PC, all these other kind of things, like the console was always a means to an end, right? It's still going to be an important focal point for them within the ecosystem, but it's not the only way they're servicing and delivering games anymore. And that expands to so many more people. When they say they want to reach 3 billion gamers originally, they're not going to sell 3 billion fucking consoles. You know what I mean? Like this was always eventually kind of where things were headed, but it was accelerated majorly, a lot faster than I even thought, right? I thought one other thing though, I did think there was a potential for a mid-gen refresh this gen because I thought we were going to start seeing that sooner. But instead, I think what they're doing is they're changing the game on the kind of what hardware is, which I didn't see that coming necessarily with the hybrid PC thing. If that's real, that's something at Twist that I was like, that's a dream to have something like that. Never thought I'd see it from like a platform holder if that comes out, because I always thought they would still be, like, hey, this is our storefront is end all be all on this device, and that's all you can use, because that's like the main motivation always.
That's the main, yeah.
Yeah, it's the main motivation for having them, right, in the first place. But I think they see it as, well, if no matter where people buy they just want people to buy fucking games and play games, and it's like they're past the point of necessarily having it to be on a certain place, a certain device. It's like, put the games anywhere, everywhere. We're gonna make money on off of everybody.
Yeah, they're kind of in the Epic Games model right now, where like they're just going to try to add all these benefits to their ecosystem to draw you in, and that's the hard part, is getting people to draw into your ecosystem. Like Epic Games still struggles with that, and I think that's kind of the part they're at now, is they're like, we need to come up with these benefits and incentives to get the people in here, and
yeah,
that's where you get to play anywheres and the cloud gamings and all that shit.
Well, if they can pull off the console library playing on a portable device without streaming, or your PC library from Xbox or Microsoft Store without, having to do streaming on that same device, I think that'll be the draw. I know that'll be a draw for me. I'd also like to see them revisit some of their old messaging on the digital ownership and trade and resale. That's not as big of a wish, but it'd be kind of cool to see if they
I
can.
remember at the beginning of the Xbox One generation, they were like, yeah, we're going to rework achievements. And it's fucking 10 years later now. It's like,
yeah. Everything moves
The only thing I want from them on achievements is medals. Like, hey, this person's got however many hours in this game, or this person has, 52 games. Maybe they didn't get 1,000 gamer score on each one of those 52 games, but they completed 52 games this year, or got the achievement for the end of game on 52 different games in a year or something. So like a game a week, and just make medals or something to that effect. Something you can show on your profile or whatnot. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think I wonder, like, when the next gen launch with the changes we're all getting to the app and all these other kind of things. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that they've been all working on to have some kind of like big massive thing all at once. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is the new Xbox experience, kind of like they've had moments like this in the past. You know what I mean? They did it during the Xbox One generation, where they did a complete revamp of the UI, and they like had talked about it, like I was changing everything and all this stuff, because they went on from the kind of the Connect Snap era to like, hey, this is servicing gamers more era, right? And like I could see with all the moves they're doing for Xbox Anywhere, the apps on PC and handheld devices, the work that they've been doing with achievements, all these other kind of things, what they've mentioned as well, even more recently, that things were coming for that. I feel like there's going to be some kind of like, this is it, the Xbox experience. You can experience this anywhere you are, and this has this and that, and they're going to talk about all the changes and stuff, and try and create like not a rebranding, but like a reason for people to say, oh, I'm going to go check that out, and check that out, and no matter what device you're on, and see how it all works and interacts with each other and stuff like that. So they've already been making some moves in the background, like friends are back.
Yeah.
We can have friends now, not just followers. Like things like that, and different little subtle moves here and there. But I think at
Yeah.
some point there's like a big, massive change potentially happening with all of it.
I think we see something on the PC side of things before this year is out. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to take a guess to say we see something by June in beta form for PC. And then probably on our series consoles September-ish, maybe a little bit later.
Yeah.
If they get that whole Xbox OS thing going and they could make it seamless across like the new TVs from LG, Samsung TVs, portable handheld PCs and stuff like that, I think that will be not necessarily the game changer, but the thing that opens people's eyes to this play anywhere stuff.
The good aspect of this like if they're doing what they accomplish, the next gen hardware is that kind of device, right? A lot of people were concerned, well, Xbox is too distracted doing different things, so we're not getting enough features with this or attention to this, or because they're so spread out doing mobile, doing PC, doing the console thing, so like we're missing out on support with things that we could have gotten if it was just focused on the console, right? Now, if they do create this unifying UI thing that's really the same experience everywhere, right? At that point, then all the direction, any of the improvements, enhancements, or whatever, all the things that they would put into it would benefit everybody on all the ecosystems, right?
I hear that, but at the same
It's a
time,
dream.
like
It's
knowing
too much of a pipe dream. Yeah, I hear you.
no, just knowing Microsoft's history with like every time they're like, we're going to unify all the platforms. Like they tried it with Windows 8, they always fuck it up and it becomes shit. And they're
Well,
like, we gotta change.
That's what One was all about,
Yeah, I
the
know.
whole One moniker and all that kind of stuff, right? But I think like I think that's what they're really trying to do. Now we have to see it executed, right?
Mm-hmm.
For sure. But I think most of the work, and I know nothing. This is all speculation, right? I really believe most of the work going on behind the scenes with all the teams and stuff at Xbox, Windows, all these other kind of things involving with gaming and all this stuff is all directed at this right now for the most part. Like that's what I'm thinking in the back of my head. I think that's why we're seeing subtle changes here and there to the Xbox app to this, because I think it's all in preparation. I think it's like back end stuff that they have to do to make this stuff actually work when they launch it. Because I think when they launch, it's going to be a new skin on everything, right? And now, how is that going to look? How is it going to be received? I don't know, right? Maybe it'll be more bare bones when it comes out because they don't have as much put into it. But like, I think that's really what the goal. I think that's why Windows was put under that team.
Mm-hmm.
You had Surface was put under that team. You had Windows put under that. It's all one branch now, right? And I think Phil and his position and the Jason Ronald and these people are like saying, okay, how can we fucking streamline this shit into one thing? Because there's too much, right? So let's focus on making one experience that can be anywhere, and that way all the improvements, everything we do will benefit everybody. That's what I hope. Now it takes execution, it takes actual commitment to putting the effort into doing it, not just talk. But I gotta hope and believe that's what they're doing. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean they kind of did that with like Office, like because back in the day it was like you had Word, you had Excel, and you had all this other shit, and then they made Office 365 where it's all combined into its own thing. So like if they could do that with Xbox, where you have like this is gonna sound weird because it's Xbox is its fucking name, but you just sign into Xbox and you have your Xbox console, then you have your Xbox mobile area, and you have your Xbox PC area, you have your Xbox fucking TV stream area or whatever the fuck, like all in one area, but under the name Xbox. Like maybe that's kind of more or so what they're going for.
I think you're gonna be able to launch your PC into like Xbox mode.
Yeah. I think that is the thing they're trying to beat Steam to. Although Steam still has an uphill battle with the Proton and the anti-cheat stuff, where I don't think any of that's going to really change. But
Well, Steam already
just
beat them
imagine,
with that with the Steam OS because like that's what a Steam Deck is, right? Like so when you
yeah,
and also the new Lenovo Go device,
mhm.
you
Yeah,
launch
but
it
no
into
one's putting
Steam.
Steam OS on their computer. It's like
Not yet. Well, they're we know somebody in the gaming community that has, and they've modified it enough to make it seem like a console. When you hit the Xbox button, it comes up
Mhm.
like a console, and they have the access to their library, and it pulls from Game Pass and their Xbox library and their Steam library. It's a lot more trouble than it's worth. And if you got the time and you got the know-how to program, yeah, it's not
Well,
too
I
bad of a
mean,
deal. But
on my
but
controller
I
now, if you hit the Xbox button, it launches Steam.
yeah,
It doesn't launch the Xbox PC; it launches Steam. I didn't set that up. I don't. It just wasn't my doing. But like, if I take my controller and
Mhm.
I hit the middle button, Steam launches into like big picture mode. I don't know why.
something
it's probably because you
something
already have
you
Steam
you agreed
running.
to.
I maybe I clicked on something. I don't know. Like, but that's just what
Are you
happens.
running Windows 11 or Windows 10?
11.
Okay, it might be a Windows 11 thing. I refuse to update until they force me to, because
I think
like
it's just
the
a
problem.
Steam feature that they kind of implement
Okay,
there.
let's see. I had Steam running and it pulled up Steam. Let me fully exit out of Steam and see what happens.
If I hit my Xbox button on my controller and it's not plugged in, like wired
Yeah,
connect,
so
it'll turn on my Xbox. But
if I
if it's
don't have
wired,
Steam, if I don't have Steam running, it just pulls up like a guide at the top where I can launch like any app that I want.
mm,
Right. Is it maybe because that Steam's running in the background or
Yeah, you have
something?
Steam running in the background still.
when I have Steam running in the background, all it does is bring up Microsoft Game Bar. So Xbox controller hooked up, it brings up Game Bar, whether Steam's running, whether Epic's running, whether what is it, Rockstar's running,
Yeah,
anything in the background, it'll bring up
like I
Game Bar.
since I don't have Steam, I hit the button and then it's like I can launch Stalker 2 because it was one of the most recent games, Marvel Rivals, and then I can click the Xbox app, the Steam app, the EA app, the Blizzard app, Ubisoft,
Mhm.
Epic. Like those are the apps I can pick through. So it's all the
Right.
gaming stuff. But
So I think
Mhm.
Xbox wants to by default, like you can choose to just launch into Xbox mode, or if you hit that button, your Xbox will turn into like a dashboard, like zoom, and it's like the
Yeah.
same thing you see there, like that you would see in the cloud that you would see on your console, and you just have your library of games and you can play them. And if that's what it is next gen, and you have the same selection of games everywhere, fucking amazing, dude.
Yeah.
And especially if they start combining libraries, like, hey, you can put your Steam library into your fucking Xbox games list, right? Or your Xbox library into your Steam games list, all that kind of
that's the
stuff.
dream come true.
Yeah, I mean that's just we buy the games where they're the best deal. Get your subscription service where that you want, and it's servicing everybody, right? And we're all win as consumers in that day and age. And if you're picking the device that you want to play on based on, hey, this is what I can afford to get the best bang for my buck and value out of for hardware for gaming, whether it's a console or PC or whatnot, or I wanted this device because I want to plug it into a TV, or let's say there's a handheld that comes out 4 years from now that's as powerful as the consoles are, and you can dock it, and it just easily like a switch, and it's just fucking like, hey, this is like a Series X Pro or something power wise, and hey, you can take it on the go with you. There's so many possibilities that we're gonna see in the future, and it's gonna include a lot of this shit, right? So when Xbox puts their games other places, am I upset? No, I'm like, fucking gaming is changing, everybody, and we're all about to be here for the ride. Um, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of stuff they come up with all these things. Anyway,
Mhm.
I think that'll do it.
Exciting times.
Yeah, very exciting. I think that'll do it for tonight's show. This was XUP episode number 215. Yeah. Thanks to everybody for being here. Appreciate it. Audio listeners, shout out to you as well. Appreciate all the support and everybody who shows up to take part in our chats and our shows. You help make all the content go, and super appreciate you guys. Jasper, thanks for being back, man. It's good to have your negative energy back. Appreciate it.
I knew when I saw the title today, I was like, oh, we're going to talk about the Xbox Dev Direct. I'm going to come in with not so positive attitude towards it, but here I am. I'm not going to be a fake person out there like some people in the podcast world where they just kind of follow the flow of what the talk is.
100%,
yeah,
man. Always be you, dude. That's why you're here.
I'm back. I'm back, and I should be more regular because I got internet now. So yeah, check it out, Lord Jasper Twitter. That's where I'm at.
Did you tell the other internet company to fuck off yet?
No, I haven't. I'm just gonna let them keep messaging me like they think they got me service, and I'm just never gonna.
Right on, dude. Fuzzy, thanks for being here as well, man. Appreciate you. Where can people
No
find
problem. Oh, I just want to start off. Love doing this with you guys. Shout out to Pong. Love being on here with Jasper. Thank goodness you're back. Differencing of opinion or not, always love and trust your viewpoint or standpoint on it, and just love talking with you, Mav, about these games, and looking forward to how crazy this year is going to be, man. Like, I don't know. 2025. I said it at the end of 2024. I don't think we're ready. We already got pretty much at least one game, if not multiple games, coming each month. Day and date stuff coming in the Game Pass that we didn't even really touch on as much. We just focused on the first party stuff. And we're already up to like, I think 8 or 10 games that we know of without a doubt. And there's like 14 or 15, day and date stuff that's coming to the service. 2 of which I think are next week. Was it Sniper Elite and Eternal Strands, I think, next week? So
Yeah, I think so.
It's already starting, but anybody that wants to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on pretty much any social media except for Facebook. Just do a search for Fuzzy Belvedere. You'll be able to find me. Tomorrow, no shop. We'll get a new schedule figured out here shortly. Pixelated Echoes is going to be early on Sunday. You're around 5 or 6 p.m., I believe. Maybe a little bit earlier than that. You'll keep an eye out on social media for Pixelated Echoes for the upcoming show. And then next week, we got Xbox Lunch Break Special at noon on Double Barrel Gaming. And then right back here for FSP at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see everybody in the chat there as well. Thanks again.
Right on, Fuzz. Appreciate you. Everybody will be back for FSP on Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. PM to PM, Thursdays, 7 p.m. Eastern. Fridays, Xbox Ultimate Podcast, as always. And also maybe stay on the lookout in case we end up doing another stream this weekend. Might play some more TXR, might play something else. Lots of games to play right now. But appreciate everybody who always shows up for any of the things we do. Have a good one, everybody. Have fun playing your games. There's too many of them. Peace.
Later.
Hey.